there in front of the general public on camera and said that the police were supposed to let the 4 young men escape. Minor children. 13. Another one wasn't even over like 10. And another one wasn't over 11. So it becomes this weird situation where the Chinese agitator is trying to convince you, hey, I'm black and I'm telling you, or African American, again, whatever nomenclature, that we have a right to tell the police that we're going to police our communities, when everybody knows that CHOP is a great example of what happens when pretend black community leaders pop up trying to manage the community. I digress because no sooner than that crazy mess happened, a day later or even 2 days later in Detroit, 2 days later, some guy pops up and he is, I don't know, off his medication. We haven't heard anything about that. We have no proof if he was on medication or not. Personally, I think he was a sheep dip nut job, and that really wasn't his girlfriend. They're just kind of going through the motions. Basically, what happened, somebody drugged this guy because he's out there getting into a fight with the police who are trying to subdue him when he's running around the parking lot with a sword threatening people. How did you get to the parking lot? How did you end up in a situation trying to threaten people? It was a Walmart shopping parking lot, I think. Might have been a Target or a Myers. I can't remember. I got to look at the video again, but it might have been Walmart. Probably was.
While I have you still on the line, I want you to talk a little bit about the Jacobins and the infiltration of all of these non-governmental movements.
And I'm gonna segue right into that. So here's your African American Chinese spy or Chinese operative, right? This is what she said to the camera. It was so brave that my boyfriend was trying to hold the police off with a knife. He cut a cop's face when they didn't even tase him. They were telling him, sir, please. Actually, no, wait, I'm sorry. If I remember correctly, they did tase him, but as they kept on the story, they never mentioned it. The point is, his girlfriend comes out and tries to romanticize, his actor girlfriend. Let me take that back. His actor girlfriend comes out and tries to romanticize that he cut a cop's face while he was trying to hold the police at bay with a sword. Eventually, after he cut the cop's face, he threw the sword at the cop, at least one of them, and then the police shot him one time. I think it was one time, maybe twice, and the guy went down. He eventually, I think, died later, but they're trying to turn that into the next Jordan. They're trying to fluff that and turn that into that. And in terms of the Jacobins,
well, they really want war.
Entering into
They really want war in their.
I'm sorry, what's that?
They really want war in this country.
Let me just throw this out there. They want a boogaloo. The Chinese want to trick America into a boogaloo. That's what it is. For people who know what a boogaloo is, right? Anyway, they want to push that. They really want to push that. And the reason why they really want to push that is because basically China has the biggest weak military on the planet. You know what I mean? When 100 Indian troops can kick your butt, and there's 300, not to say the Indians are weak. Indian troops are not weak. Let me be very clear about that. They've been eating their Wheaties over there. But I didn't even tell you.
But I want to talk about.
So you have a fist fight.
I want to talk about the culture of the.
I'm sorry. Getting back.
And the Democratic.
I'm sorry. Getting back.
The Democratic Club.
These people have been around for it.
In 17.
These people have been around for a long time. But in regards to the Jacobins infiltrating different organizations, and I'm calling them Jacobins just because that's what they think they are.
Well, they're operating in the same.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're operating, socially in the same fashion.
Well, I mean, they're. Let me put it this way: for every one racist skinhead you run into, for every white nationalist, right? For every racist black militant you run into, for every racist, Mexican pretend Bolivarian revolutionary idealist, or South American, no, we'll say Mexican, whatever. For every person who you run into from some other country in Asia who has a very sort of twisted, racist perspective of other people that are not from that Asian country. And there's a couple. Thailand. Sorry, Thailand. You got to grow out of that. Anyway, for every one of those people you run into, there's a separating line of about 5 to 10 people before you get back to the person who misinformed them, and they came in contact with people who were, who are misanthropic about telling other people what's up, meaning that these people deliberately season your population to wreck it. So when you look at the Jacobins, or these new people calling themselves Jacobins, but are far less sophisticated, far less, with a significantly less amount of intellect, you're running into people who are just basically thinking that they're doing something cool by wrecking the civilization when they don't really realize that the civilization China is going to give them, because in their minds they're like, we got to burn down America. So so the newer Jacobins, or these new rebel rousers, so-called Marxists, right? Because they're not really Marxists, because Karl Marx, would think all these people are disgusting. How can you come to someone else's country? I'm sorry, not country, but town, coming from affluence and money, telling them to burn down the system, but still you're going to go back to your own communities. And you know what I mean? So do you see what happened here? It was no different than Rosewood or Wilmington or Oklahoma, where you had a bunch of angry show up and burn down the African American community. And that's just what happened again, except this time, the bankers couldn't find old enough white people to do it. So they went and brainwashed a bunch of young white kids and brainwashed a bunch of young black kids. And then they brainwashed a bunch of, young Hispanic kids and a bunch of, young Asian kids, and told them that everything is bad, but you still need a white ringleader in your group to go fight the white evil people. Like, you see the psychosis here? Or the schizophrenia here? So they had spent their time going through different colleges and different charity organizations and different, .orgs and other, belly-scraping movements. Belly-scraping movements. I'm saying they're slugs. I'm saying they're trash, right? So they went and found a bunch of those organizations, stuffed a little money here, stuffed a little money there, because, Black Lives Matter is not really, it's a corporate entity. Did you know that? Go look at the filing. They've got a bankroll of $1 billion. Because you had a bunch of, I have to say it this way, what could be considered as white race traders, just throwing money at them. But at the same time, it's like, well, are you really a race trader if white people own that corporation? So then we have to start asking some really deep questions like, wait a minute, so you're telling me that these satanic rebel rousers, pretending to be Marxists, pretending to be Jacobins, or using Jacobin tactics primarily, these people, their job is to run around and do their banking master's bidding. Like, that's what we're really dealing with here, is we're dealing with organizations whose job it is to destabilize the civilization whenever it becomes powerful enough to make That's what we're looking at. Is that China's supposed to be the next big financial hub, industrial hub. Everyone's just supposed to be a bunch of poor, organ-doning, slugs.
The reason why,
and that was their plan. However,
the reason why I referenced the Jacobins is because the Jacobins operate in the same manner. And I'm just going to explain really quick who they are. They're a member of the Democratic Club that was established in Paris in 1789. And they were the most radical and ruthless of political groups formed in the wake of the French Revolution in association with Robespierre. instituted the terror of 1793. So they operated in a similar fashion. Go ahead.
No.
But
well, let me say this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to say they operate in a similar fashion where they infiltrate all of these non-governmental agencies and governmental agencies and 501c3s, and they infiltrate all of these movements. And
it's listen, if you want to know what's wrong with the veterans have been at war with these people. The veterans, when they go into these different federal institutions, they're supposed to be getting help. They're at war with those. They're at war with them. Like that. As a veteran, I can tell you, I have regularly spotted them and called them out. And it's really a matter of a waiting game with them, because at a certain point in time, they know that they're not going to they have very peculiar methods. And when you push them beyond their ability to execute their method, they capitulate. But ultimately, they stay there, and there's a lot of people who may not have your intestinal fortitude or mental fortitude to deal with it. So you get angry, you blow up, and you're like, and then, you kick some butt. And now you're an evil, angry veteran, and they use you as propaganda to, demonize veterans, when in reality, most veterans are trying to manage their PTSD. But when you have someone who's deliberately psychologically conducting warfare on you in a very clandestine way, where even when you get a new counselor, they're still attacking you. And you don't know that. You don't really understand that, and that's one of the things that the Trump administration tried to address and immediately swept under the rug. So when it comes to these people, they're your college professors who are completely there to turn your children against you, So your daughter, I'm not a white guy, but if I had a white daughter named Becky, and she went to college and she comes back and she tells me, hey, Dad, I'm learning how to be an underwater Swahili basket weaver with a master's in, hip-hop dance for trans animal gender Z's and Z's for global peace. I think I would probably slap the professor so hard, my daughter's great-great-grandchildren, if she didn't cut out her God-given reproductive organs and try to call herself John, not knocking anyone that does. But I'm saying I probably, if she had kids, instead of going down that other path, I would smack the professor's head off of their body so hard that her eyeball would pop out of her great-great-grandkids' heads. Seriously. Because what Americans don't understand is that the Chinese have been paying operatives in America at the behest of the bank, the Jacobins. So let me put it this way. You got a terrorist organization of these people. And they just kind of they're like Gladio. They're hired guns. They come in, they cause chaos. They try to force you. They're terrorists. They are terrorists. Go Google the term terrorist. Your previous president, Obama, total Jacobin. Total Hellfire Club, nut job, total terrorist. He was a terrorist. You're trying to tell me that you're selling me on the notion that more black people got killed when the president was black than the president being white this time around? So, meanwhile, don't get it twisted. Republicans are in on the game, too, because Mitch McConnell's a coke dealer. Mitch McConnell got coke. He got caught shipping his cocaine in. He got caught in his quote-unquote, his private airplane, got busted, moving like 400 pounds of cocaine or 200 pounds of cocaine. So I'm just kind of like, Mitch. He's like, I'm a righteous man. I'm like, when no one's watching you sell cocaine, import, export cocaine, but you have to understand that the Chinese had already cut their deal with the South American cartels, in particular the Mexican cartel, because they have no discipline, they have no fight, they're garbage. So don't say that; they'll come looking for you. Good luck getting in the country, first of all, and good luck And good luck finding anybody that distinct from the Mexican cartel to come see me, because you're all getting deported right now anyway.